Welcome to another episode of the Reboot Chronicles, a no-holds-barred forum with global leaders, authors, entrepreneurs, and CEOs about how organizations stay focused on growth and innovation in unprecedented times. I'm your host, Dean Debiase, coming to you live from Reviv's North American headquarters in Chicago, and we would like to thank you for joining us from around the globe today. I'd like to welcome Steve Galanis today, the CEO of Cameo, one of the world's leading marketplaces for personalized videos, where 30,000 celebrities can give a shout out to just about anyone on anything, including your mom for Mother's Day. So think about it, check it out. It was started in an incubator in Chicago called 1871, one of the largest in the world, where in full disclosure, I'm a co-founding board member there. But it has grown into what Time Magazine calls one of the 50 genius corporations on Earth. So Stephen, welcome to the program. And can you just start out by telling us, why did you start Cameo? You could have done anything in terms of a startup. Why Cameo?
Yeah, we had the idea that selfies were the new autograph. My co-founder, Barton, was an NFL agent who was repping like the 15th best player on a team, so not the superstar. And a documentary on ESPN called Broke had come out. And in that documentary, we learned that 80% of NFL players go broke within 5 years of playing their last down in the NFL. At the same time, in the world of social, if you go to UCLA or you go to USC or you go to Alabama, you have tens of thousands or millions of followers by the time you get to the pros. So we really felt like there had to be a way for talent to monetize their social in a way that was brand positive and, hopefully find them a new revenue stream that wasn't just, being on the field.
Right. And just tell us real quick how it works.
Yeah, so Cameo works by going to either cameo.com, our website, or downloading our app on iOS or Android. You can search between our 30,000 different athletes, actors, entertainers of all sorts. You find someone you want. Every talent has set their own price. You say if you're getting it for yourself or if you're getting it for someone else, you put their name in. You write the message you want to say. It's 250 characters or less. And then the talent has 7 days to turn it around and create a personalized video message for you or your loved one.
Perfect. And so that's kind of how you started it. Took a while to get it going. How did it grow so fast? Why do you think that happened?
One of the really cool things about our business is that we are a marketplace very similar to Uber or Airbnb. Or Grubhub or some others. But the difference between our marketplace and those marketplaces is our supply can, in effect, beget their own demand, right? They're all famous, they're all on social. So when they join Cameo, they can go and share their link out and turn their followers into our customers essentially for free. So if I had to really like boil down one thing why Cameo has had just a supercharged growth trajectory, it's because our supply can market themselves, and we've had an unlimited amount of free influencer marketing over the last 3.5 years.
Yeah, I mean, you've done an amazing job. Monetizing 30,000 celebrities is interesting. So talk about, A celebrities versus D celebrities, or let's say celebrities for the rest of us, maybe. What's the mix like?
Look, we never talk at Cameo about A-list versus B-list versus C-list versus D-list. One thing we learned early.
The media loves to talk about
that.
Yeah,
the media loves it. But one thing, especially in the social age, is people today, right? Like, your two roommates that you were telling me about, your 7 and 9-year-old roommates, they have people online.
My coworkers.
Your coworkers. Right, you have they have people that they follow religiously on YouTube that you've never heard of before, and if they came and messaged them or they met them in person, they would freak out. So I think one thing we always say is that one person's D-list is somebody else's A+ list or favorite person in the world, and that's something that's uniquely happened because of the way social media has rose, through Instagram story, through YouTube, through TikTok. Fans are consuming their favorite people's content and going way behind the curtain. Unlike when I was growing up in the mid 90s and watching the Chicago Bulls, I never really knew everything that was going on behind the scenes in Michael Jordan's life until 22 years later here. And at the end of the day, I think stars today have a deeper connection with their fans than at any time in history because everything they do is on the record and consumable.
Yeah, good point. You seem to be having a little bit of a Zoom effect too. All these celebrities and stars and athletes are, they're all shut in like the rest of us. It's democratization of a pandemic as ripples across everything. So that has spiked your platform big time. I think you mentioned it's up about over bookings are like up over 1,000%. That's not a percent I normally hear.
Yeah, it's and look, we were coming into this, we were already the fastest growing consumer marketplace in the country.
Right.
So we've been growing extremely rapidly over the last few years. But one thing, I actually saw Toby from Shopify, the CEO, say something really interesting yesterday. He said that they were looking at the percentage of retail that's actually gone to e-commerce, and then the
Exactly.
last 2 months it's jumped from 15 to 30%. And he said basically what this pandemic did is it brought the world into 2030 in 2 months, right? Which is a pretty crazy thing. So we've been saying that our business has gotten super turbocharged. One other thing uniquely in our marketplace is every single athlete, actor, musician, comedian, at their core, they're all gig economy workers, right? They get paid per game, they
Exactly.
get paid
Right.
per concert, they get paid per stand up, they get paid per meet and greet at Comic-Con. So in a world where all of those things are canceled or postponed, they're really hurting for monetization opportunities as well. They don't have annuities, at least those that aren't on Patreon or OnlyFans or something like that. So really, they're needing a service like Cameo more than ever right now. And I think a lot of them who previously had told us that they didn't want to come on because they didn't have time or they didn't need the money, suddenly they have time, they need the money, and they've come on the platform and just really enjoyed it. And hopefully we're able to capture a lot of this tailwind that we've had and just make it sustainable, similar to what Zoom's probably talking about right now.
Right. But with you, it's you had a bunch of actors that were probably thought of this as a kind of a nice to have, kind of a gimmick. Then they got serious about it. Then reality hit, and it's becoming a systemic part of their revenue stream. Not just you, but doing things remotely. They're all trying to relearn that. And you're comparable about retail with Shopify is really spot on. What we're seeing at Revive, which does a beauty selfie app with all the retailers and brands, is a 400% spike over the last couple of months. So you're right; it's kind of pushed everyone up a decade. It's, hey, digital's been here for a while. Everyone, let's start using it. So some companies are benefiting, others not so much. So athletes and superstars and YouTube stars, they what kind of money can they make with you?
I mean, look, we've last year our top talent were making in the mid six figures rather. This past month, if you just look at the rate of what they did in April, we have 2 people pacing to make over $1 million this year. Now we have 17 people pacing to make over $500,000, and we have another 250,000 plus that are pacing to make 6 figures with us, just based on last month's revenue. So everything that we're seeing, we believe this will continue to accelerate, and at least until production and music and all these things are back.
Right. So 250 people are making over 100K. That's a nice stat, because it kind of cuts off the top performers, which is that seems like a trend. What about just artists performing music through the app? You're seeing a lot of that now, obviously. Zoom, all types of other sharing platforms. There's the sing-along platforms, all types of things. What any plans there?
Yeah, look, we're actually yesterday on Cinco de Mayo, we had a cool partnership with Don Julio where we had people like James Harden and Olivia
Oh man, I
Colpo and
missed that.
Aaron Andrews. And you could go on and do a raffle, and the winner got to win a Zoom conference, Cinco de Mayo happy hour, sponsored by Don Julio, which was pretty cool. So right now what I've got is I have a roster of 30,000 talent. They're looking for more ways to work. We have direct to consumer access. They're bringing us ideas of, hey, I want to do a live stand-up show. I want to do a music festival. I'd like to DJ some kids' graduation party, right? So they're bringing ideas. And for us, we have a really good product roadmap. I mean, we had been tripling down on asynchronous, and we've been tripling down on things that weren't live.
Right.
I'm very happy we hadn't spent the last 6 months building, a Cameo Live where to go meet people in person. So
Yeah.
everything on our product roadmap, whether it's the core video shout out or Cameo Direct, our texting product that we launched a couple months ago, these are all things that I think are again, really benefiting from the way that the world's turned and the way that social distancing is impacting the celebrity fan relationship. For us now, what we're doing is we're really trying to validate some things in a no code, low code environment. So hey, go broker the FaceTime, go broker the Zoom call. If those are interesting, we'll build them. But this quarter we have a goal to have our team broker 250 of these experiences just to validate. And then once we have an idea of what worked and what formats really make the magic happen, that's where we'd start building.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Just keep monetizing the platform. So when talent, let's call them, come in and apply, I've seen the application, and do you always accept them, or is there a rejection rate with some of them?
Now, the acceptance rate's pretty low. I mean, anyone in the world can apply to be talent on Cameo.
Yeah.
Largely what we've found in our experience over the last 3.5 years is if you don't have at least 20,000 followers on Instagram or Twitter, you're probably not going to have that velocity
I gotta
to
get much
do
volume,
well.
right?
There's actually a couple, there's some exceptions. Like if you were a really like memorable minor character on a huge show. So for example, the Soup Nazi is one of our top talent, or
Yep.
some of the guys from Howard Stern's Whack Pack are 6-figure guys on Cameo, even though they're not like famous on their own because they're part of something really big.
The
They
Whack
can end
Pack.
up
Yep.
doing really well.
Yeah, enough said. You just put Whack Pack or a Soup Nazi in front of your title, that'll do well. Now it makes sense. The democratization of the platform, I think, is interesting. What about like business people, famous, not famous, tips? Yours is more fun. Yours is more fun and light and entertaining, but you see some potential there.
Yeah, we have venture capitalists on. We have entrepreneurs like Alexis Ohanian, the founder of Reddit, is on Cameo.
Yep.
We have the founder of Foursquare, Crawley, I think is his last name. Sophia from Girl Boss. So we're seeing more entrepreneurs coming on. We have a lot of investors. We have all the Shark Tank cast. Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful, one of the top people. We're starting to see professors and authors and artists and cooks and people that are renowned within their field joining, which is really exciting. As we're seeing some of the use cases change, moving, especially in our Cameo Direct texting product, moving more for like a birthday shout out from someone to micro coaching or advice or a sustained two-way connection.
You're hitting on a lot of trends that are just going crazy right now. Personalization, customization, remote distancing. You've got kind of like checking all the checkboxes now. Expanding by genre makes sense. Let's switch to COVID-19, and we don't really, talk about it a lot on this program because it's very topical. There's too much information out there right now, but we do like to talk to companies that are doing something about it, and there's many. So your platform is perfect, and then timing is perfect. You had all these celebrities with not much to do. Money issues aside, let's just talk about what you've done with the platform, and you did a whole program called Cameo Cares. You guys raised $725,000 in like how many days?
3 days.
Wow.
And that was part of a 72-hour live stream that my team did, which really blew me away. And we were able to, this was our first foray into content. I mean, we have a podcast that I think we've done like 3 or 4 episodes into, and we got over 180 of our talent to come in and do panels and game shows or live performances, all streaming, which was incredible. One of the highlights of these conversations that we put together, we had Cedric the Entertainer moderating a panel between Brandi Chastain of the U.S. Olympic team, Tony Hawk, and Mike Tyson, right? Like these are just once in a lifetime conversations.
You can't moderate that kind of a panel. It's just
totally. And for us, we were really trying to use Martha Stewart plus Snoop Dogg as an archetype. And
exactly.
and we put some really cool content together, and I think it kind of I think all of us working on it really felt like we were looking at the future and seeing what Cameo looks like when it grows up.
Yeah, I heard one good story. So that was one fundraiser, but also a lot of your talent on the network. If you look at their boxes, they're telling you how much they're going to donate if you do a spot, even for Mother's Day coming up. I think one of them was the announcer for the Yankees did one for. A gentleman wanted one for his wife who was working in the hospital and would come home at night crying. Just during COVID, it's just been draining for her, and she did an amazing spot that just really kind of gave her encouragement and hope and all that. So are you seeing a lot of that still?
Yeah, we're seeing amazing stories like that every day. At this point, we're doing about 8,000 requests a day.
Wow.
It's, I think for a long time, Cameo it was very easy to just call us the birthday app, almost like TaskRabbit was for putting together IKEA furniture. But, at this
Exactly.
point, I really dare you to find an occasion or something you want to communicate to someone that you could use Cameo for. We've been pretty blown away by the creativity of our customers and how they're collaborating with the talent to produce this wow content.
There actually is a question on chat about that. Let me get that in a second. Let's wrap on COVID. So I guess the question is the Cameo Cares, $725,000. Where did it go? What'd you donate to?
Yeah, we had a few partner charities, the National Restaurant Workers Relief Fund, Music Cares, and Actors Cares. So we were really trying to give. Yeah, there's a lot of people giving the World Health Organization and things like that. We were trying to go directly to people that have been, impacted in an outsized way. Like Music Cares is helping, the techs and the sound people and all these people that are the people behind the people at a concert that there's suddenly nothing for them to do, and we really felt this was a great opportunity to work with talent to give back to the community and the people that support them.
So if I go to Waldman, the announcer for the Yankees, and click on hers, how much of that will she donate back? And does the artist get to choose where it goes right now?
So the artist gets to choose where it goes. If they donate, if somebody's donating, 100% of their proceeds are going to that charity.
Nice. So looking at the chat board off camera here, sorry. So we already answered that one. How about the question is, what is the most popular request? So maybe it's happy birthday, but maybe give us the top 10.
Yeah, the happy birthday is extremely popular. People have birthdays every day, obviously. Congratulations are huge. So right now we're seeing a lot of graduation cameos. You think of, I saw Obama yesterday announced that he's going to be being the graduation speaker for Chicago Public Schools this year, which is really cool. So we're seeing a lot of that. Roasts are extremely popular. During football season, fantasy football requests are big. We'll see, you're booking Jerome Bettis to pick the draft order of your fantasy football league. I mentioned roasts, but again, the creativity. We've seen gender reveals. We've seen people use Cameo to come out to their parents. We've seen jobs being offered via Cameo. We've seen people quitting their job via Cameo. So again, I dare you to find something you could use it for.
I could get Trump to do one of those. You're fired. What about other weird things like breakups? Is there a good breakup song that?
Yeah, breakups are big. We went viral earlier this year for Mark McGrath from the band Sugar Ray. Somebody used him to break up with their long distance boyfriend who was, in the middle of writing his PhD thesis or something. That was
pressure.
Worldwide viral. But it was.
What about divorce? Anything?
I don't know.
Asking for a friend.
We've seen divorce parties, like almost like a reverse bachelorette party. We've certainly seen those. I don't know if we've seen anybody get divorced via Cameo yet, but I'm sure someone listening is gonna probably pull the trigger on that today.
Yeah, you should do a focus group of people like me that will give you all kinds of tips and ideas, and maybe even funerals. I mean, it doesn't have to be so somber. It could be, I'd love to have Mike Tyson say a few words.
Well, now you got the dancing pallbearers, so funerals are getting happy all of a sudden. Well, at least after COVID's over and people can gather again.
Yeah, obviously not making fun of that, but Other questions are funniest story or spoof, or give us some. Obviously, this didn't all go smoothly for the
Yeah,
last
probably
few
the
years.
I think like looking back on it, it was not funny at the time, but it's extremely funny looking back on it.
It never is.
Uh, so in Australia, we got like the red alert, the papers were going to publish something. I don't know if you guys remember reading about Cardinal George Pell. He was the highest ranking member of the Catholic Church. He was the Cardinal of Australia, and he had originally gotten like caught up in the Vatican sex abuse scandal, and basically some prankster there booked Flava Flav to send a message to George Pell and just
Yeah.
say that all the little boys in the choir were missing him and were really upset. That video went hyper viral in Australia. So everyone was asking how Flava Flav could support pedophilia,
Yeah.
which was fun. It turned out that Cardinal Pell, I believe, has been vindicated or he's off the last I saw. But at the time, this was like an international shitstorm, and Flava Flav had no idea who George Pell was. But in some ways, it kind of shows the power of Cameo. Never before have you been able to put words in somebody else's mouth, and that one in particular was pretty funny.
That's a good slogan. And it's bringing up a lot of questions that are saying, so how do you control, foul content on the network? You
Yeah,
have
look,
people looking at pop screens before it goes to the artist?
we don't. At this point, we have a machine learning algorithm we call NaziBot that we created in the wake of the Brett Favre incident about 3 years ago,
Right.
where a white supremacist had dog whistled Brad and put coded language in a message. But I'm a history major. If I had read that message, I wouldn't have known what it was about. So the talent can accept or decline, but now we run machine learning against every request using a database from the Southern Poverty Law Center.
Yep.
If certain words are flagged, the talent and their talent relations member will get notified about it. But look, we've done almost 1 million of these, and I could count on one hand how many we've ever had to pull from circulation. So I put our safety record up against anything that's ever existed. And I think it's because of the paywall, and I think it's because of the credit card and having to put your own name in. If you
Yep.
want to say something bad, you can go do it for free on Instagram or Twitter.
And unless the divorce genre takes off, you might get some activity there. But the good news is the AI technology these days, and the syntax and everything, it can grab just about anything. So you've got a couple couple different ways to obviously approach that. What about some of the what might be interesting, just to kind of give us a perspective. Let's pretend you're talent. How does this work? Do you have a phone on you or something? Just show us what
Yeah, I do.
usually
So
happens. So I'm going to go in. I give you my credit card. I give you $100. I say, hey,
yeah, so
do happy birthday.
exactly. So once Dean's booked me, essentially what happens on the talent side, they get a notification. There's a request. They can either accept it or decline it, or they can hit the message to ask questions. For this one, we're going to say accept. When we accept it, a teleprompter opens up. They can record the message right from their phone, upload it, send it off, and get paid immediately. So for talent, I always joke that Cameo is like a mix between Tinder and Snapchat with built-in monetization. So they love making the videos, but the product is so fun that we've heard that they would do it for free, but they get paid, which is kind of the ultimate in consumer product.
Yeah, exactly. So I like that. It's highly automated, very personalized, but it's like, here's what you have to do, and just do it now. Or some people would say, well, okay, I'm going to think about that script, and I'll go to my computer and set up all this nonsense, and then do it. It's just like, no, just do it. Otherwise, you can't do enough of them quick enough. So I guess.
Yeah, one of the other things early is we, for our brand identity, we chose authentic over high quality. That was like a trade-off that we made originally. We'd rather have that person with no shirt on, driving their car in Southern California. It's like that rawness is actually what makes it really special.
Yeah, kind of like a Larry David episode or something. I can't ask you that question. So what else do stars? What else do they kind of need if this goes on for a long time and movie sets don't fire up, and the ones that had gigs going on? Are there other things they could be doing?
Yeah, certainly. I think with Cameo, just so you guys know, we built the marketplace where for X amount of money you could do Y activity with Z person. So today we're doing really two Y activities: our Cameo Direct product, the texting product, and the videos with
Yep.
30,000 people. But there's a whole host of other things, especially in a socially distanced world, that we could enable. So right now we do asynchronous videos. We could certainly do synchronous videos. We do texting back and forth. You can also see us getting into audio or sending pictures back and forth, things like that. So we think that the future of Cameo is really facilitating two-way conversations with your favorite people. We're just kind of at the precipice of that, and there's a lot we could build on. And for the creators, they miss their fans. I mean, I remember when the COVID forced the NBA to cancel, and LeBron said, I would never play a basketball game without fans. I play for the fans.
Yeah.
Even if they do get back, like there's still gonna be, to anybody until there's a vaccine or until there's herd immunity, and everybody knows that from the antibodies that this isn't going to come back in the second strain. People are not going to be able to gather for a while, and talent are going to need to interact with their fans. So
exactly.
That could be a more one-to-many situations. It could be other one-to-one permutations, but we're going to be there, willing to support our talent base and our fan base, and make sure they get what they need.
Sounds good. I got one more question here. We do have a lot of B2B audiences around the world and consumer, but this one you can clearly tell it's B2B. So how do brands, retailers, advertisers, how are they going to play with this platform? I don't see I don't see sponsored by and anything yet on your platform.
Today we're fully a B2C company. We have had brands like the Don Julio one I mentioned, where they pay us to facilitate a really cool experience for their customers. I do think in the future, if a LeBron James was going to come on, you'd probably have Nike or Gatorade or one of his sponsors subsidizing the cost, paying him, and doing it similar to what we did with Universal Studios and The Grinch this year, where they put The Grinch on Cameo for free for parents to book for their kids.
Smart.
And then the other thing that more Main Street businesses can do, for a lot of our talent, they have a business price as well, especially our most popular talent. So, for example, if you're running a Chevrolet dealership in Whitewater, Wisconsin, you might want Brett Favre to announce the Memorial Day sale is coming up, and instead of $400, he might be $10,000 for that. So having a higher price for a branded Cameo that then that business could use on their own socials, on their website, and put ad dollars behind for 90 days.
Yeah, perfect. That's right. That's where I figured you were going, something like that. Well, Stephen, thanks for joining us today. Just do you have any parting comments, entrepreneurial advice for the other 500 startups that are still at 1871 here in Chicago, and just little tips? What could they learn from you?
A couple things. Number one, I think the founding team is so important. And there's a concept, especially consumer, that I've learned about. It's called founder market fit. And, are you doing the thing that you were put on earth to do? If you don't love doing it, then you shouldn't be doing this thing. There's probably something else that you can do. Secondly, I think the importance of having a founding team that really complements each other. In consumer, one of my favorite investors, a guy named David Cummings out of Atlanta Ventures. And David says that all the best consumer teams he's ever seen have had the hacker, the hustler, and the hipster. And you need all three of those things to work. Otherwise, you're not going to get off the ground. So making sure you're partnering with co-founders that have complementary skill sets to you will really save you time and frustration down the line if you guys are all stepping on each other's toes.
Perfect. And bring in someone that can help you scale. It's always my punchline. So thanks a lot, Stephen. You've been listening to a great program about Cameo. Check it out and send one for your mother on Mother's Day if you can. Join us next time with John Hagel, chairman of Deloitte's Center of the Edge, where he will drill down and make sense of this changing global landscape that we're all experiencing. So till then, see you. Thanks, Stephen.
Oh, thank you.